Before we were talking about the Clark County School District and that decision to have students put their cell phones in those bags so they will just focus on learning, all kinds of pushback. And the reason this is breaking news is that at one point they had 13,000 signatures online. All of a sudden it has jumped to 19,000 as far as the people who don't want to see that rule put in place. So let's bring in Rachel O'Brien from openthebooks.com to talk about this morning. And Rachel, this is one of those things where they can gather as many signatures as they want, but this is not like a ballot initiative where you have to gather a certain amount of signatures to get something on the ballot. Our state legislature has nothing to do with this. Is the Clark County School District even going to listen to see this opposition out there?
Yeah, so the petition, this is an online petition. It was started by a student. You've got students and parents signing it. It's now 19,000 signatures. Yesterday it was 13,000 signatures. So no, this is sort of an informal, petition just to show to district leaders, hey, we're not happy with this policy decision. And the district leaders have said they're not surprised by the opposition. And they haven't indicated, that they're willing to sort of back down just because a lot of people are opposing it. They're expecting people to oppose it. They want to make clear, and I think I've seen a little unclear messaging from other places, not here, not this station. I've seen elsewhere, but so these are not locking pouches. These are pouches you put your phone in during the class period. It blocks the cell phone signal. Once the class period is over, students get their phones out of the pouches. They can use them at lunch. They can use them in emergency. So it's not a total ban on phones. It's just a ban during class period. So school starts August 12th. They're not going to be able to have them in classes. The district is spending over $2.5 million on these pouches. They're using federal pandemic funds. And they started this earlier this school year in the spring. They had it as a pilot to sort of test it out. And now they're rolling it out. They've sort of committed. They're rolling this out. It doesn't sound like they care that 19,000 people don't want it.
I'm glad that you gave us that perspective. And for us here in Las Vegas, we're a little more familiar with these pouches because if you go see an entertainer on the Strip, they'll often give you these. We just saw Kevin Hart over at Resorts World a couple Sundays ago, and we had to put the phone in the pouches and then took them out after he was got off stage. Let me ask you, though, about other school districts. Here we are, the 5th largest. I would imagine other school districts in our nation have some sort of cell phone policy in place that's similar in nature.
Absolutely. So across the country, 77% of schools say they prohibit cell phones, right? That doesn't mean that students are actually following those prohibitions or that schools are enforcing them. If phones are allowed to be in backpacks, let's say, students can still access them. But if they're in a case like this, or if they're in a locked case or in a different section of the classroom, it's harder to get to. So LA schools, they ban cell phones. They're a huge school district. All of California is considering having schools adopt a policy prohibiting. New York State's considering a ban. You've got Indiana and Florida have banned phones in classrooms. Oklahoma, Kansas, Vermont, they have pending legislation. And so there are many high schools that allow cell phone use in certain areas and certain times on campus, again, like at lunch, just like Clark County schools are doing. Only 9% of schools actually ban cell phones completely on campus. So a lot of schools are doing this sort of combined policy like Clark County schools. And you mentioned, going to a concert, you got to put your phone in the pouch. The company that's really cornered the market is Yonder. They are in lots of schools. They started specifically with concerts and sort of events where you want people to be present and in the moment, not recording everything on their phones. In the past 8 years, Yonder has expanded to school districts in 41 states.
Oh, wow.
And so we asked the school district, we asked CCSD which company they're using. They had paid Yonder almost $14,000 in 2023. They won't say which company they're using for the rollout for the entire school district. It's kind of odd. We know that they're spending this $2.5 million. And so, you're seeing this everywhere. There's a need for this. Students are distracted by phones in class. And so we'll see more of this. And even adults, too. Places like courtrooms, we see Yonder. Again, the federal government spent $175,000 on these phone cases so that people can have them in courtrooms. And so it's big everywhere. It's not just Clark County schools.
It's back to the future, like when we were kids in the classroom. So take the distractions out of it. Thank you so much for giving us the perspective and context on it all. We appreciate you, Rachel.